For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors. Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of kind of a pitching tutorial video on how you're going to pitch your Telta Sky Link Canopy. So this basically, we're starting at this point here, which is basically how you're going to attach it straight from when you receive your brand new awning onto the caravan. But of course, what you can do is skip forward to the latter part of how we're going to get it out and pitch it once it's physically mounted on the caravan by checking this little box down here. It'll fast forward you in the video, hopefully, to the starting point. So first and foremost, it's a really groundbreaking kind of concept in terms of this special Skylink. Now, the first thing we want to do is obviously attach onto the caravan. So we can just kind of open it up. And then we're going to feed it directly onto the rail to start with. So this is, again, the joys of this, and you have to do this kind of once, and once it's physically on, then you just more than happily leave it on the caravan itself, and you're kind of good to go then. Immediately, if you've got a second pair of hands, it does make life a lot easier. It's always the way of catching the rail. Feet in, feet in, feet in. Cool, and we're on. That's where being tall or having a step makes life a lot of a dream. So what we want to do is position it on the vehicle where we want it to be. Once we've kind of mounted it on that point there, what we can actually do is then we'll get some awning rail stoppers, feed it through, and lock it in place. So then when we're sort of in transit, we can leave it in its bag. We haven't got to worry about it shifting anywhere. Once we're at this point, there's only one last stage we've got to do to actually kind of leave it in a bag ready to roll out and use straight away. And to that, we have to kind of open it up and insert basically the fiberglass pole, which gives it the absolute quick and ease of it all. Again, this is where being tall makes life a lot easier. Or a step that's going to help. So once we're at this point here, what we can do is we've got one fiberglass pole that we could just directly insert into it. And this is basically going to be what's going to give us the strength to roll up on something solid. Now, what you want to almost do is search. If you basically, where the buckle strap is really for when you guy it out, you can undo the Velcro. And what you're looking for really is a little kind of greyish seam like that. So there's almost like a little slit in it. Now, the little slit is designed that you can just feed that pole directly into that little area. And then from there, it will basically elongate across the canopy. Some bits probably go in a bit better than others. And then once we're in, ideally what you want to do is kind of the pole so it is completely in the sleeve. And then that way it's not going to kind of pop out, so you kind of almost push it back the point. There we go. So then once we're in this position here, what we can do is just basically Velcro that back up again. So we'll get the Velcro patch on the tube, which is there. And then the awning is ready to be rolled back up. So personally, I like to start kind of in the middle. This is where what I would do is probably get your caravan step strategically placed right in the center. You can sort of follow this seam line here, and that's going to be kind of your center point. And then from there, what we're going to do is just sort of roll it back within itself. The tighter the roll you can get, the better it's going to be. The pole just gives it that little bit of extra suppleness. Obviously, help by making the clip as long as possible. Nips on there, keeps it neat and tidy in the bag at that point. So as you can see, it's very simple and easy to do. Preferably with a caravan step is always helpful. And the awning is then zipped up in the bag. And we're good to travel. So now we can obviously travel to the campsite, away from the campsite. It's all in the bag because we're going to use obviously the provided awning rail stoppers at the front and the back. It's not going to shift, and because we've also got a kind of pole built into it anyway, what you'll find is, even if God forbid it was to go back, the pole's so solid it's not going to go around a curvature. So, and because there's obviously not really anything solid like a metal aluminium pole in it, just a bit of fiberglass, you're not going to kind of damage anything. So it's just essentially a bit of rolled up fabric. So more crucially now, what we'll do is get on to how you pitch the awning itself. So this is how you're going to pitch your Sky awning. Now, the joy of the Sky Connect really is the fact that the Sky Link is it's built on there. There's no actual heavy-handed stuff in terms of getting it on the rail. Nice and easy. It's in the bag. It's perfected. The awning rail stoppers are either side. We're pretty much good to go. So we put up the site. We get ourselves level. All we're going to do now, quite simply and easily, is open this up. There's 3 buckle clips in total. So we'll just undo those. Again, by all means, use a step if you need to. Thankfully, I'm burdened with some height, so I haven't got to worry about that. The awning comes down. Now, there's Velcro which we can just undo. What this will allow us to do is get to the actual kind of the base of the beam itself. It means your pitch times will be drastically reduced. There's no strenuous of feeding poles through. In the very middle, there is almost like a feet are kind of velcroed in, so there's little triangles. So we can just undo those, and that all comes loose. Now, because we've got the fiberglass pole, you can see it almost kind of takes shape to a certain degree. What we want to do is now insert our Boston valve. So the inflation point here, there's kind of a screw cap to it. You've got the back cap, which is kind of the main deflation point, and the front cap, which is purely for inflation. So there's one at either side, just to make sure it's nice and easy to inflate and also deflate. So we'll just double check we've got both of those done. Because we have, we can now then grab the manual pump that comes supplied with the awning as standard. And then pump it up. We have, it's worth mentioning, doing a separate kind of video talking about the specifications of it and the functionality of it. This is more just kind of give you an idea about the overall how you pitch it and how you go about pitching it as well. So quite simple to do. But it's kind of, again, it's a very new and exciting concept on a more of a traditional design of having an awning in a bag. Because again, if you want to, for example, take to clean your caravan for any reason, you could take it off with ease. There's no point of unraveling it at all and getting to the point you've got to kind of then feed the pole out. It's a lot more effortless, really. And this bit you can also get electric pumps to work for if you want to. Now the recommendation is 7 psi. Which I'm at now. Simple as that. Now, what we're going to do, I've used my own peg to this just for a bit of a side note. We want to lift it up into shape, preferably start with the main stall straps. We want the front panel to be dead flat. So what we're going to do is just do a provisional point to peg. Let's not get our strap twisted. So, just going to pop that in there. You want tension quite simply on both the straps, so it's not pulling one more than the other. These have been sort of flipped over. But so you're going away for a weekend and you don't want to have the hassle of pitching the whole awning, you can quite happily do this. What I will go through in a second is kind of the side panels that are optional extra for it. So again, I've just done that initially. What we'll do is then make sure we're dead square with this sort of side part here as well. There is a webbing taper that goes across there, so you can't ever kind of oversplay the beam that way. But we will kind of tension directly against each other. So we've got a pegging point, which is on the fabric part here, and one at the bottom of the beam. So just peg. Again, trying to keep ourselves dead in line with this side. If we need to tension that top section, we can obviously pull down a little bit, but it's nicely and secure. Again, we'll just do the base, again, pull it away from one another, making sure we're still straight. And then just that little additional corner point located there. And then finally, we've just got little guide points on the side. We'll just pop that in. When you're inserting the pegs into the ground, you kind of want to ideally go in at a 45-degree angle, just because it means that as the peg's been pulled back, it's sort of been pulled up, it's sort of been pulled backwards, you see. So it just gives you a bit more grip, a bit more shelter, and we're good to go. So, dead quick, dead easy. And again, structurally, pretty sound. You've got yourself a bit of a sunshade, 4 meters wide, perfect for this kind of thing. So the next thing we're going to look at doing is we're going to put the side panels on. So the side panels you buy additionally, go on either side. And there's also the option of a front panel as well. This kind of almost, the Sky Link kind of, in terms of links to the vehicle, links to the van, but it's very much kind of sits alongside the normal version of the Sky. So you see this is brand spanking new, never been used. So we'll go through it the first time together. You always have a bit of paper, really, in this is just to stop the PVC getting too crinkled and stick it to itself. Just makes life a little bit easier. So these actually do have a left hand and right handed, so they do have a preferential side. Again, it's one of those things that's definitely worth utilising your step to make it work really nicely. What you want to look for really is where's a foam pad. So That's going to be basically towards the back of the awning. And from there, you can kind of dictate the shape. So we've got peg lands on the bottom, back pad on that side, which means we're directly up here into the zip. So there's a bit of beading, a zip on this outer edge. That's what we're going to directly go into. Just for the sake of ease, I'm going to grab my step just to make it a little bit more effortless. And again, because there's no weight on the panel itself, it's nice and lightweight. It's still a robust fabric, but it's not too kind of heavy. And what we want to try and do is basically bring the fabric up. How do we get the fabric trapped, of course? There we go. Bring the fabric up to it. And zip it fully in. So yeah, we've got this last panel. Like I said, we're just going to do exactly the same as we've just done. Just again, attach it directly onto the top. Keep it neat and tidy. Try not to kind of catch the fabric in that section there. Again, this is where being a bit taller does make life a little bit easier. You can zip that directly on. Good to go. So again, we want to peg firmly against the back of the caravan just to try and get it nearly nice and tight. If need be, we can tweak the front a little bit just to kind of get it to fit that much closer to the section. But actually, we're looking pretty good there. And then we'll just kind of again peg the front. So we've got equal tension on both sides. Try and get that looking sharp as we can. And then for good measure, just give it a little bit of a pull. So now we've kind of got the sides in place. What we can look at them doing, obviously, is putting the front part on. So again, we've got a really nice zip built onto the front of it as well. I think the thing for me as well, being if you're a sort of less physically able, or you've got the versatility with this awning, you can pretty much A, roll it out when you want to have it rolled out, B, only use it as a canopy or canopy with sides, or even just a canopy with a front. You can really kind of pick and choose how well or how much of the awning you want to have. And because, unlike a lot of other brands, it zips on the whole way round, one thing you find is that you've got a really nice sealed awning, so it's more manageable. The pack size is obviously smaller because you're talking about 3 separate components rather than one big component in total. And yeah, I think it works really nicely. So we've got, that's the inside, so I'll flip it around. We've got zips on kind of either side, so you can give it a bit more of a veranda effect if you wanted to. But for the time being, yeah, we'll just kind of bring that fabric up. See how taut that is. That's really nice, actually. Really nice. Sits beautifully. And you can see just straight out the windows how just kind of lack of creases are in that. Again, that's just kind of, I think, almost like a testimony really to just how well it sits. So again, all we're going to do really is just put the last few pegging ladders on. And peg it. So again, what I want to do is really start with, if you're going to have this door fully sealed up, then yeah, I'd probably just kind of, obviously then peg it properly. So peg it kind of almost the far corners away from one another first, and then obviously these ideally you want at an angle, so that way it tensions against that point. Where's my pegs gone? So again, like pull it away, go in at a 45-degree angle, lovely. And then we'll do the middle one as well, just so again, just to make sure we're tension equal on either side. And last but not least, and two in between. Of course, if you were to roll back half the section as a door, you can obviously do that. But other than that, voila. Finished, we're pegged, we're square, we're looking really taut, and that's kind of how you're going to pitch the, obviously the Sky Link. Sits really well. At this point here, what we can do obviously is put our rear pad poles in, which you buy additionally, and just get a really nice and tight on the side. But in whole, very quick, very easy, but I guess it's the lack of strenuous or the multifunctionality of it. You can see obviously each stage how much time it took me to do. I mean, it's probably a little bit longer the first time you do it by attaching the ladders and that sort of stuff. But on a whole, sits really well, good quality fabric, and check out our kind of, we've done a bit more of an in-depth product review video you can have a look at as well, but that kind of gives you a bit more of an overall feeling of how you're going to pitch your Sky Connect, or your Sky Link I should say. But for any more questions, queries, or information about the product, check the link below this video. It'll take you straight through our website where we've got everything loaded ready for you to go there. So thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you again soon in our next Attwoolls Outdoors video.